Welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything's working. I'm your host, Patrick. How are you all? This is going to be an interesting one for sure. Are you guys ready for a cyberpunk Isamaru Hound of Konda? Do we get that? Does the dog live eternally? Hound, as it's originally subtyped. So many odd subtypes in Magic's history. They're like, we should probably like consolidate and make distinct subtypings. But yeah, Isamaru is a hound, technically, but dog in this modern day and age. And probably would be in a cyberpunk universe as well. But how are all you guys doing? I just was organizing my screens here. As a matter of fact, let me just test this. Having two screens is better than one. Let me tell you. We're not streaming quite yet, but we're gonna look. We're gonna look at this screen to make sure it's popping up perfect. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Look at that. Oh my god. That's so good. That's so nice. But yeah, this has been such a joy to have. Look how fast that cursor is. I think there's a way to make it so the mouse icon is gone, but maybe you guys like the mouse icon. I don't know. But Mark Cantaloupe says hello. Makuro says, hey man. Hey Makuro. How you doing? Lincoln Longboarding says, budget Karametra deck tech. Budget Karametra. Maybe. I haven't done a $99 brew in a minute. Not that those decks have maintained their price. It's amazing to me how quickly the Magic card market is moving. The secondary hand market is moving. Everything that's valued is just rising. And I feel so bad for people trying to get into this game right now. But also Lincoln Longboarding, I just started longboarding. Again, I used to skate as a kid, and I picked up I have to share this with someone, so I'm going to share it with you and the rest of the viewing audience. I wound up picking up a land yachts dinghy, and I've been skating for went out maybe 2 or 3 times as of late. Last time I went out, I was trying to practice an ollie. It definitely fell on my ass, but it's very fun. I used to skate as a kid. I skate and rollerbladed in Hawaii, but it's fun to pick up the hobby again. I'm still just a little anxious to be skating in front of moving vehicles. Biking, different story. Skating, gotta work on. Hamahimana says, a new Cyber Isamaru. That's a 4/4 white. Yeah, it would be. With all of the flavor text. All of the flavor text you'd expect from Isamaru, Hound of Konda. Davi says, fire. Yeah, fire. There's been some cool announcements today. I don't know if you guys followed. It was news to me very last minute. Justin had mentioned he saw something on Reddit stating as much. I'd love to know where these announcements are officially spoiled. I would hate to think that I would need a Reddit account or a Twitter account or any various account to get that information. Do you guys know? Does WotC or Hasbro or whatever have a newsletter for game announcements? Because next time it would be fun to do viewing with you all. I was thinking it would be kind of fun to be able to just view this and discuss, obviously, these 2022 announcements with you all. But, que sera. If you guys have any questions or thoughts on these recent spoils, let me know. They were hardly spoils. Nothing was really leaked outside of the fact that there are, X collaborations and X new product coming out, and we were all anticipating Magic sets. But hello, I start college tomorrow. Hopefully I will find more people who share the love of MTG, and to be more particular, people who like mid to high power EDH. Ruben Smith, good luck to you. Break a leg in college. It should be a good time. Make the most out of it. Make the most out of it. That's really all I got to say. My college career was just all right. I tried to make the most out of it. I went to 2 colleges, and this is not to put you down from whatever you're doing. I went to school for a liberal arts college for acting, so very, very different than any other sort of skill or, anything you can acquire from a college. Something that's so subjective as art. Really not something you need to go to school for. Lincoln, yeah, nice man, thank you. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I want to learn how to slide next. My next step is just learning how to slide with the board so I can stop a little bit better. And then I'll feel comfortable just bombing hills and being out in the middle of traffic. I already had a few cars like shout at me, so rather annoying. Aaron Boyles, the shorts brought me here. Love them. Enjoying the live this far. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking your time, honestly. These are a joy. I really like entertaining people, so if these are mildly entertaining, I've accomplished my goal. But I definitely like doing these. These are really fun as well. The Brewmaster segments are great because, I get to work on something that our audience members want to see, or rather our Brewmasters want to see in particular. So these are really great for me because it gives me an opportunity to work on something that I probably wouldn't otherwise work on, such as an Isamaru. Because I got to tell you, Isamaru doesn't really come up in many, cEDH discussions, but I'm excited to try it out today. Which reminds me, I'm actually bringing up my tab now. Because Shane Ireland, if you're in the audience right now, this was the one you suggested. It was a while ago, though. This was before Ragavan, and you'll note why I'm stating that in just a second. But we're going to go with Isamaru anyways. But Shane, if you want to do a mono red list, we can do that in the future. Again, if you're watching. Obviously, if you're watching this post, then we'll figure something else out. But yeah, I enjoyed these a lot. And also the shorts, I hope you enjoy... Oh my god. I hope you enjoy the rest of this 4-part series. It's not going well. For as much time and effort as I put into scripting and shooting it, it's not going well. But I'm really passionate about doing these sort of mini, I guess sort of anime overacted story arcs with Luca and Davil. And I just edited the next one. It's tough. You can't really see what they look like in loop, or at least I don't have software that allows me to do this. I'm sure maybe there's something on QuickTime. But I like seeing them air live so I can see how it loops. But I try to make all my shorts end cleanly, or end into the beginning. And this one is going to work out pretty well, I hope. We'll see. But this next segment is really fun. And obviously part 3 and part 4 are fantastic because I don't know. There's a lot of little things hidden in there. Maybe someone will notice it or appreciate the fucking effort it took. If they're good though. I enjoy these shorts. Dogan says they did it on YouTube and there are some articles on WotC's site. I mean, I watched it on YouTube. My point being, how do we find out? As I understand, it was live streamed on Twitch and YouTube, but how does one get that information firsthand? Because all the accounts for this particular 2022 announcement were on some other form of social media from a third party, not from WotC. I want it right from the horse's mouth. Where do we get that information? Because I did not see it. Hama Himana, your name always trips me up. 3-color draft set next. Summer looks like absolute gasoline. And a gangster setting is pretty neat. Yeah, people complain about like the direction WotC's going, but I'm like, mobsters, mob families, we're really getting like a Godfather set, or what is... Not to say they've jumped the shark, but they're definitely going way out of their original comfort zone with like the worlds that they were exploring and the themes they were exploring. We've known about cyberpunk Kamigawa as it's been labeled, but this one's, I don't know. Do you want a film noir detective drama in the world of MTG? I don't care. Like, that sounds cool to me. I'm sure it's going to be conflicting for some people because it doesn't immediately mesh with MTG in my opinion. I'm like, is this the same world where there's that elf over there with a bow? I'm in some sort of weird mobster dystopia where it just doesn't really make sense. But I'm going to enjoy it because I like that kind of stuff. Bruh, good boy tribal. So Jordan, if that will get you to stay and share this with your friends, yes. No, I looked at, we'll look at it together, but I looked at some dog synergies and good boy tribal maybe. Good boy tribal maybe. There's some dogs in mono white that we can leverage, but I don't know if we're going to use all the dogs. There's a handful that are in here already. If you guys are following along, again, as always, the link for the mixtape is in the description. If you're ever on my tapped out page, there is a folder that has all of the Brewmaster requested decks, and there's also a folder for all of the cold brew decks. By the way, first time in a while that I'm actually drinking cold brew on this channel during a cold brew session, or rather, this is Brewmaster shit. Doesn't matter. Same concept. Let's see here. You know, but maybe Good Boy Tribal. Ready for Fortnite ad nauseum? I guess. I don't know. Here's my concern, open, close. This is optional product, right? I know people are just upset about the idea that, you know, you're going to get a reprint of a card. I play with adults. A lot of us pay to have our cards altered to look like other IPs anyways. So this isn't all too different than... I mean, they're really just banking on the alternate art market, if you've noticed. That's really all they're doing with these secret layers. It's basically MTG alternate art. And that's essentially what this is. Street Fighter, I believe it's going to be mechanically unique cards again, but then they said they've corrected, or they will correct how that's done. But with Fortnite, like, I don't really care. Like, I'm sure I was going to run into some kid with a Fortnite set of cards anyways. And, like, that doesn't really upset me. And this is just a way for them to grab some cash out of some people's pockets that enjoy Fortnite. And, you know, que sera. Like, it's not for me, but it will be for someone. The only issue is if this product, you know, the pack, you said ad nauseum, but what if it has Imperial Seal? Well, shit. I need another copy of Imperial Seal, so maybe I'll have a Fortnite-themed Imperial Seal, and that's just how it's going to, you know, have to be. And that would be a shame, but it would be cheaper at, you know, $49.99 for the non-foil when you get 6 of these cards than having to buy, you know, what are they now, like 500 plus for Imperial Seal? But that's, I mean, I'm assuming that's where they might get us, right? At least the more hardcore players that, you know, want said staple. That's my concern, because I wouldn't want just a standard Imperial Seal. And I imagine that Imperial Seal would hopefully get a reprint. I mean, I don't think we're going to do another Portals set, but it would be cool to see it in Kamigawa, like a cyberpunk-themed Imperial Seal. That'd be kind of sick, in my opinion. So I'll probably wait for that. But, I don't know. I don't know what else to think. It's fine. It's just optional product. Again, it's MTG alternative art. Let's make money off of what these people are paying hundreds of dollars for. And I know that Lord of the Rings set is going to get a Soul Ring. It's going to get a Soul Ring. Or if it's themed off of the characters and places and objects, then there will be a One Ring, and we'll see how that functions. God, maybe I dread to know. It's got to be potent, right? It's got to be pretty good, the One Ring. Where the hell was I? Lincoln Longboarding. I built a $34 mono green fin deck tech that regularly wins on turn 4. That's not bad. The franchise. Dude, I run an Isamaru for French 1v1. Love to see you try to get him to cEDH. We will try, and we'll need to discuss that in a second. I watched Magic YouTube video firsthand, Gabriel Goldman says. And your thoughts? I watched part of it. I wasn't able to... I was in the middle of working while I had it running, so I was listening to it. And I would sort of flip back and forth when something of interest came up, and I was sharing some stuff with the Discord, but ultimately I had to stop watching. I don't think near the tail end nothing really happened, so... Mike Gunn says, I feel like it's just to introduce the 5 other guilds that they didn't get in Strixhaven. Oh, okay. Yeah, you mean with Streets of Rage, whatever it's called. Ruben Smith, I'm hoping for more Grixis variations for cEDH commanders for the Godfather set. I'm hoping for just I don't care about Grixis, but I'm hoping for you as well, Ruben. Hama Himana says, I think the thing that makes it easier to fit into Magic for me is the fantasy races. Also, as long as the shards wedges, the draft has always been fire. All right. Looking forward to our vanilla doggo today. Me too. Connor Tillman, alt art is cool. Mechanically unique cards only available in limited time frame is trash. Yeah. I mean, again, it sounds like, I don't know. There was such an uproar against the Walking Dead set, and I say it to everyone I know. I'm like, I really like Daryl. Like, I like the card. I like Daryl from the show. It's kind of upsetting that people will out me for enjoying something that I purchased. And I always encourage people to proxy. So it's like, if you want to play with Daryl, or if you don't even want to play with it, you want to play something like Daryl, slap some new art on there. Play that. You know, it doesn't need to disrupt our gaming experience. But it does for a lot of people. And it's really upsetting because that sucks. So my hope is that they'll finally make good on their promise and release these Walking Dead characters as MTG variants. Obviously, switching Walker out with Zombie doesn't really matter. Doing that, making the switch, so I can fucking play Daryl already. And I'm tired of people bitching and moaning at me about that shit. Really tired of it. However, I can understand your pain. I can understand it. But it's annoying for the people that actually do like the product. I'm so indifferent with more. More is usually good. More is usually good. I don't think they've dumped the shark yet. More is usually good. Jen's kid, my wife and son went back to mainland a couple weeks ago, so I've actually been able to catch all your live content since. Bittersweet. Well, thanks for tuning into these. This one should be all right. I hope if you want mono white tricks and treats, as this is partially named, well then hopefully we'll see some today. But where were we? I'm going to run through a handful more of these thoughts and then we'll get into it. Zinni says, we're going to see Jace, Chandra, and Nissa in Fortnite as skins, I bet. Kind of cool, I guess. I predict Imperial Seal is new Capenna. Maybe. That would be nice. I mean, sooner rather than later, jeez. I can see Imperial Seal in their Commander Legends D&D set. Yeah, me too, actually. Sort of like an analogy to Mana Drain being the big reprint in Commander Legends 1. Price-wise. Yeah. My thoughts on Magic YouTube. Very long, skipped many parts. Well, it's nice because you can sort of skim it and it'll give you a preview, so you can sort of just land on what you want to see. I was hoping there would be more for The Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, so like anything in that universe I'm going to enjoy. And it's kind of akin to Magic, so hopefully people won't lose their fucking minds. But that's my hope, at least. Reconnaissance would be great combat tech for this deck. Oh, Jordan, you're already in it. Yeah, you're right. Yes, it would be. Let's talk about that. I'm going to add that in the list right now, just because I'm going to forget. And we're going to start in just a second. I promise. But because today was such a monumental day, I figure we can just talk a little bit more before we begin this one. I think I remember them saying they would do unique cards in Secret Lair, but have those planned to be... Yeah, that's what they said, but they haven't delivered on that yet. I think some of the complaints were that, some regions wouldn't receive these cards, and I'm like, okay, well, like if you were literally unable to purchase it, I would just proxy it anyways. Like if you really wanted the product, like if you needed to play Rick Grimes, you can just proxy the product. Hopefully your playgroup doesn't care because it's impractical to get it otherwise, right? For most of the states, like we're able to pick up all this product. I mean, that is Hasbro's goal, right? To sell as much of this shit as possible. So, as soon as they put it in a regular set, though, that'll be great for everyone. I hope. Hopefully that fixes hopefully that's a fix for the problem. At least that's what they think is the fix, but they haven't executed on it. I've been trying to brew mono green the ooze with Storm with Food Chain. Would love to see. I did a very similar build with Shasta. I don't know if they're really one-to-one how you would want to play those lists, but I'm sure the ooze and Shasta's build are going to be very similar. So if you want to follow that, you can. Shasta Caffeine's Fizzle is also on my tapped out, so you can check that out. It'll give you an idea of what to work with Lundy. Since we're getting Street Fighter and Capcom has been really good, with sharing their IP, I'm pretty sure we might get a Devil May Cry. Also maybe Darkstalkers. Devil May Cry, yes. God, does anyone remember Devil May Cry 1? I remember when that launched. Oh my god. What a good hack and slash. It really, I really love that game. Yeah, I'd love it. I would play Dante. I would really love that, actually. And I don't mind Street Fighter either. I grew up with a lot of fighting games. Although I think me and my brother generally gravitated towards Tekken more. But I'm still down for Street Fighter. We had Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter... What do we have on our PlayStation? It was mostly like an arcade game for us, coupled with, Capcom versus Marvel, which would be... I mean... I don't know if I don't even want to speak it into existence, but if like a Marvel property made it into MTG, I don't know what that would be like for people. Would I want to play Spider-Man? Yes. Obviously. Obviously, I would want to play Spider-Man. Black suit Spider-Man? Yes. Totally. I totally want to play that. How does this go infinite again? Yeah. Sometimes I do feel like I'm stuck in a loop. Doggy, reprint Kamigawa, Yi Tekken. All right, I think we're ready to go. I think it's time. Let's start this up. Welcome back to the 99, where we're focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, and this is Cold Brew. No, it's not. It's Brewmaster, where I take you from start to finish on a list suggested by one of our brew masters. I keep thinking that this is a deck that I wanted to do because it secretly was, but Shane Ireland says, for the list that we're going to be covering today, Isamaru, Mono Red. This is before Ragavan, okay? Mono Red, but not Godo or Birgi, or something Mono White, maybe. How about Isamaru Hound of Konda? Because who needs rules text when you can have all the flavor text? Now, the question isn't why today. The question is why the hell not? So that's why we're doing Isamaru Hound of Konda. Do I think it's like a cEDH viable deck? I really don't know yet, but I'm excited to find out. So we might as well take a second to look at the boy, our good boy. It's weird, my second monitor is all the way over here. So if you see me like, if I get whiplashed, like call 911. Don't know how they're going to get my address, but we'll try to figure that out. But here's the deck. This is in front of me. This is so weird. I've never had two monitors in my life. So thank you, Patreon members. You partially helped me get there. But yeah, here boy, Isamaru, Hound of Konda. We're going with the old Kami bordering and subtyping. So legendary creature Hound, 2/2 body, and it's important that we read the flavor text. The Hound sniffed the air and let slip a low growl. General Takeno looked down at the faithful Isamaru and calmed him with a touch. Alert the men. The Kami are coming. Oh yes. Oh yes. Does that get you hyped? It gets me a little hyped. Oh shit, we can watch it while we do the stream. Wouldn't that be great? We're not going to do that. But we are going to talk about some of the cards I have in this list thus far. I don't know if they're going to make the cut. They were just things that seemed to make sense for this particular brew. This feels like it would be more of a Voltron build, right? You kind of just want to put this boy down. No, we don't want to put him down. We want to put him on the battlefield. And then, obviously, do some aggro-y things. Now, is this a real viable strategy? Sure, it can be with the right commanders. Is Isamaru the right commander? Not necessarily, but the good bit of news is that Isamaru is 1 white for a 2/2 body. So there's a lot we can leverage there by being able to cast something for 1 white. So things like Mox Amber or immediate include. You know, some lists you're like, you know, is Mox Amber worth it in this deck? Or is Mox Amber like a combo piece when my commander's out? Or am I going to get much value out of Mox Amber elsewise? This isn't for every list, right? For lists that are manipulating ad nauseum for a win, you know, sure, this is just an extra thing that you can utilize on your turn for more mana. It's a free cast. But here, Isamaru, we're guaranteed to have a live Mox Amber on turn 1 every game. It's almost like playing Rograg. So that's an auto include in my book. As I mentioned, it feels more like an aggro-y thing. So Tome of Legends makes total sense to me. We want to find all the card draw utilities we can that will be able to leverage the boy. And Tome of Legends, for 2 generic, when it enters the battlefield, you put a page counter on it whenever your commander enters the battlefield or attacks. And the entering the battlefield bit might be important, and I'll get into why in a second. Put a page counter on Tome of Legends, and then you can pay 1, remove a page counter, and draw a card. That's actually quite good. Now, what I was thinking is that we could leverage something like a Cloudstone Curio with Isamaru, because this is looking at your cards typing, not subtyping. So it's not going to just bounce dogs, it'll bounce any creature, which is actually really nifty with creatures that ETB and have some sort of various effect that's beneficial to us. But whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield under your control, this also includes lands. Don't forget that aspect of this card. That's actually quite good for us in some instances, but remember that you can utilize lands with this as well. You may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hand. So in this instance, we'll just want to bounce creatures and hopefully have some decent ETBers. You know, the first thing that comes to mind is obviously like a Stoneforge Mystic. That's usually good, right? In pretty much any format. Stoneforge Mystic, pretty good. Next up we have the Champion's Helm. Again, not sure all these are going to stay, but for 3 generic artifact equipment, equipped creature gets +2/+2. as long as the equipped creature is legendary, it has hexproof. So it's not difficult to put down. It's pretty easy to equip, and this will protect our boy in perpetuity. For all time, so long as there isn't like a toxic deluge or something like that. Next up, we have Commander's Plate. This is fairly obvious. I mean, there is obviously still white removal in the world, but we're probably safe for the most part, and we're going to get in there. More important about Commander's Plate is, in regards to protection, is the fact that it will make Isamaru unblockable, essentially, right? But equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color not in your commander's color identity. So this is good because instead of like a partner pairing where you're sort of removing different elements of protection from this, the utility of this, Isamaru gets the full benefit of this card, which is really nice. And to equip your commander, which is likely where this is going, it's going to cost 3. Next up, we have Isamaru's Hero's Blade. Equipped creature gets +3/+2. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's kind of weird that this is an auto-equip utility. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it. So there will be scenarios where we might be able to put this down first, right? You might be able to do like a turn 1 Soul Ring Hero's Blade. And that might be better. Because 2/2 is not that big, right? But if you made him a 5/4 on turn 2, then they're going to have to be a little bit more committed to trying to kill Isamaru if they're concerned about it. But that's actually quite a bit of damage. And I'm not saying that you need to wait to cast Isamaru if you have Hero's Blade in hand. You know, if you had a Mana Crypt, oh joy, that's even better. Cast Isamaru. It's not going to happen every game. I do think that this can serve as a decent utility, because otherwise the equip cost of 4 is pretty bad. Now, otherwise we have creatures like Ardent, Intrepid, Archaeologist, a real staple in those Voltron builds. Basically allows you to auto-equip auras and equipment. We have the Bastion Protector, because every good boy needs a good master. And Bastion Protector says commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and indestructible, so just making it even more difficult. The idea here is to make Isamaru difficult to deal with. We have Kelith, Sunmane Familiar. At first I thought this was a dog. I never read the subtype horse, but whenever a commander you control attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. That's actually really good. At 2 mana, this is well on curve for the deck. It's weird thinking about Isamaru turn 1, Kelith turn 2. It makes sense, and it actually works. Then, to add to our good boy strategy, Pack Leader. Because I can. Creature dog, 2/2 body. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Now, is it as good in this instance because we have one other dog on the list? Makes me think that we should just run an Anthem instead, something that will work with everything, but this is kind of cute, and I feel like it might be for the list. And again, these Brewmaster lists aren't always about making the most optimized deck or the best deck. It's just about making a fun deck sometimes. And if we can get it to being a cEDH worthy list, that's even better, right? And we shall try, right? That is the goal for us all today. I am tasking you with making the cEDH worthy. And lastly, we have Yomiji, who bars the way. This is especially not something I think will make the list, but it is something that's kind of cool in tandem with Isamaru. So for 5 generic double white, legendary creature spirit, whenever a legendary permanent other than Yomiji, who bars the way, is put into a graveyard from play, return that card to its owner's hand. Well, we have a legendary right there. So, in an ideal world, we're able to get Yomiji out. If this was Orzhov, maybe it would make more sense, but because we could reanimate Yomiji. But Yomiji is going to have a tough time getting onto the battlefield to begin with, and I don't think we should really prioritize that as a play, although I thought that was cute, and I'm sure there are combos for this, like for Phyrexian Altar, Isamaru, Yomiji, right? That's infinite ETBs and LTBs. That's not infinite mana, but that's something. But then you need to pair that with a fourth thing. It doesn't feel good. But those are things you can do. So I just want to put them there. Of note, land-wise, Animal Sanctuary. Yeah, because there's little dogs in the corner. See? Put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, snake, dog. Most importantly, we got a dog in the command zone. Animal Sanctuary, playable, 50 cent rare. Let's go. Lastly, we've got a pretty basic set up here with our lands. I don't think we're going to need a homeward path or anything like that. I really don't think so. But we will use Urza's Saga. This is going to help us fetch out, I don't know, Colossus Hammers or probably just like ramp pieces. And that's okay. That's going to be fine for us. But Reconnaissance was mentioned, and I did add Reconnaissance down here. Basically, it allows you to remove attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. So it's a good way to leave Isamaru. It's almost like having Vigilance. And we can look up Reconnaissance rulings in case... It's been a while since I've used Reconnaissance, but I'm pretty sure you can get in there, do the swing. Does not undo any effects which trigger on declaration of attack or block. So you can get in there. I think you can do damage before removing it as well. But yeah, we need to look at... clarify that for me, someone in the audience. It's a utility I don't commonly use. It's something that Taigam uses. Like, he's not Orzhov, is he? He's not purely Orzhov. You guys know the Taigam I'm talking about. Ojutai Master. This Taigam. This is like tech for... There you go. This is tech for Taigam. More so than, I guess, an Isamaru, but I've never seen an Isamaru. But let me tune in with you guys. You know what? I also want to try to do one thing live here. I want to see if we can... Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. I want to see if it'll let me communion to you guys. All messages will appear publicly. That's what I want, but I'm trying to send messages on here. It's nice when we get to do polls sometimes, and that's what I was trying to accommodate. But here, I'll do it this way. And I'll follow you guys on the chat in a second. Give me 1 second. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts. I want all your thoughts. Where are you on Isamaru? What do you have for me? What sweet, sweet tech do you have for me? Because we will need it. Okay. It's kind of annoying that the Streamlabs won't let me use the built-in chat to chat with you guys. But I do want to set up some polls here. Let me hear. Stacks Heavy Voltron? I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking. Commander's Insignia? Maybe Commander's Insignia? I don't know what this does. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for... Oh, this is a... Oh. Yeah, so this is like an Anthem. It's a very expensive one, though. Let's start there. Maybe. Flavor Win? Yeah, definitely. Drannith Magistrate, Aven Mind Sensor, Conqueror's Flail, Flagstones, Return Care. Ruben just laying down his favorite white cards right now. We can throw in some favorite white cards. Put Drannith Magistrate. I know at least we have that, right? At least we have that. But let me see here. God, yeah, you said them all. Flavor Win pick, for sure. Isamaru was errata to dog subtype. It definitely has been. Shane Ireland, there you are. I'm still so glad you went with this. Dogs for the win. Me too. If you want to see a Ragavan, though, I'm happy to do that. That's something that I secretly want to do. Like, Ragavan looks extremely enjoyable, so it's something I definitely want to try. Can we use the Jumpstart planes with the good boy on it? Oh, God. Yeah, we could. We can switch. We'll have to find that. I built an Isamaru deck and I loved it, but why is the cEDH player making a commander deck with Isamaru? Remember, Steven, how we started this video. The question isn't why, it's why not. I'm going to stop reading your comment right there, because I already answered this. Right after damage is declared, you're still in combat. Thus, yeah. So, you can untap the boy. Thank you, Quaiko. I've seen it played, and I believe you can remove it after doing damage. I believe so, too, because you can get those triggers... on damage triggers, do the thing, and then retrieve the boy. Retrieve our boy. Sigarda's Aid, Soul Ring. Oh my God, all the words. Everyone's just throwing down their favorite shit. All right, so I think we want equipment stuff, right? So Sigarda's Aid's an oldie and a goodie. If you guys don't know, this is great for Voltron builds, particularly mono white ones. But basically, it allows you to cast auras and equipment as if they had flash, and it'll auto equip them. So, yes. It's also really good with Stoneforge Mystic, right? In tandem with that, which we will actually add right now. Stoneforge Mystic. And I think I know all of the tutors in white. So, not to brag. Steel Shaper's Gift. We also want to do Open the Armory. and we're going to do Enlightened Tutor. I'm just going to put in some of the obvious cards right now, right? And then we'll go to the synergistic cards. Is that even a word? Enlightened Tutor, and I don't think we really want anything other than those. There's that guy that finds runes now. Don't care about runes. Nope. Adranith's Lock. Do you mean Ubamask? You could, I guess. I guess you could. But I think we're probably fine. We can add some of the fast mana as well while we're here. Like, I think we're going to use Mox Opal, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, all of the basic stuff. Let's get out of the way right now. Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mana Vaults. I don't think we need to go so far as Grim Monolith. But I think I get Chrome Mox in there, right? Yeah, I did. We want Lotus Petal. Would it make sense to add Jeweled Lotus? Yes and no. Isamaru is never going to be the prime target. He's never going to be the prime target. Well, there's no white rituals or anything to note. We can also add in Arcane Signet. Sometimes you just want the color. Also, we can probably add in like a Felwar Stone at most. Because this is a Voltron build, it's good to have the additional mana, right? That building phase, the first 1 to 2 turns where you're just laying down things like a Deafening Silence and such, excuse me. It's good to have additional mana as well to push past your own stacks in some instances, but also to just have interaction. This is going to be a predominantly aggro-based list, but there's white interaction. We can talk about what that is in a second, outside of Swords to Plowshare and Path to Exile. All right. Probably SRAM is an auto-include. SRAM's only really going to benefit off one thing, right? And SRAM will benefit off of equipment here. We might use auras. I don't know what auras we really want, but SRAM really does need a dedicated list to get the most draw. I want to add some draw utilities that make sense in my mind. So Sword of Fire and Ice makes sense in my mind. Mask of Memory makes sense in my mind. Again, we have Tome of Legends already. I think that I like Zephyr Boots. They're just a good way to get around. We can look at draw equipment. I mean, I feel like we've done this search quite a bit together, but we'll also do draw equipment as well as auras this go round, just to give ourselves a look at what we have. Now, before I include a SRAM, I want to know that we have enough utilities to really benefit off SRAM. I think over SRAM, I would almost want like a Pure Steel. Not that it's one over the other, but I think I would rather just do Pure Steel Paladin over SRAM, because the Metalcraft is added utility. You know, I'm not really thinking about vehicles or auras for the most part. So if we're just trying to draw off of equipment, this guy does that. It's also a way to cheat on equipment, and we might utilize some expensive equipment. So I kind of like Pure Steel a little bit more than SRAM, but you can use both. You can definitely use both. Okay. All that glitters. Yes, yes. Can you say the rest of those Led Zeppelin lyrics, please? I wasn't here in the beginning, sir. Yes, Steven. You're good. When you see a Brewmaster segment come up, anyone in the future, it's a requested deck. There are people on our Patreon that have these deck requests, and I try to accommodate as best I can. The goal here is to make the most competitive Isamaru. And like I said, is it going to be hyper competitive? Who knows? Who knows? But it's going to be a good time, and that's more what I'm into than anything else. All right. I meant Ubamask. Yeah, I meant Ubamask, Omen Machine, and Knowledge Pool. I don't think so. It's not like we have great ways to get Dranith Magistrate down. So I'm not going to concern myself too much with that. Are you on Helm of the Host? No. Bloodforge Battle Axe is a really cool utility with Sigarda's Aid. Yes, I agree on that note. I'm not on Helm of the Host. Hemmer of Nizan's Swords, Battle Stoneforge. Okay. Ghostly Prison, Sphere. Oh, wow. I did not expect such an in-depth explanation of SRAM. You got yourself a new fan and subscriber. Thanks, Lincoln. Commander's Plate gives you... Again, let's just look at how many of each thing we have, right? Or an equipment, and then we can decide whether we want SRAM or not. I use Sword of Fire and Ice, Pure Steel Paladin, SRAM, Endless Atlas, Mask of Memory, Spy Lens for draw cards. So I like Zephyr Boots because they're very easy to put down and they're not that difficult to equip, but they also offer you a little bit of evasion. I do think that we could probably manipulate Skull Clamp here. At least if our boy is removed, we get some extra value out of it, but we might have some little chumps to get, you know, a remove as well. That would be fantastic. We're not going to bake in a strategy for that, though. It's hard to bake in strategies for mono white, I have to say. You kind of just got to get there in most cases. When this comes into play, draw a card. No, I think we really got the best utilities so far as mono white is concerned. Infiltrator Lens, it's not like we have a great way to force them to block, but this is a good way to say unblockable in some instances. I think it's just a little too cute, but if you guys want to do Infiltrator Lens, we can try it. Again, I don't know who's really gonna block that. Who wants to give you 2 cards? If they do, that is brilliant though. So maybe we can encourage them to block the sweet, sweet boy. Who knows? We can also do Skulk. I said Skulk. Skeleton Key, but it's the same thing as Zephyr Boots. Let's just put them both in. I got a gut feeling that draw is going to be the main priority here. So let's just do that, and I will save this out. So we've added our tutor suite, and not all of our tutors, which we can get to now. We've added our fast mana, which I think we've covered all of, and we'll look at our fast mana suite in a second. We've also incorporated some draw utilities, right? We didn't add anything like the Pure Steel Paladin. Again, I'm still a little iffy on this, but we can do we can add this for now, and I think that'll be okay. I'll add SRAM on the sideboard. Maybe we will need it. Is it Senior Edificer? I'm sorry, actually don't even know. Is it Senior Edificer or is it the other one? It is. Yeah, it definitely is. He was reprinted in Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. We can also do Mungara, the Diplomat, on the sideboard for now, right? And I think that'll be okay. All right. What's your thought on Minx in cEDH? I think that he's probably fine. It's a sack outlet and also gives you a body for a polymorph effect to transmogrify Reality Scramble. So it seems really good to me. I like it. Although it's sort of counterintuitive, right? Like if you're going for a polymorph effect, you're likely aiming for one thing. Whereas a lot of people see Minx can think of Protean Hulk, right? And Naya, and that's kind of cute. There's no real great Protean Hulk build without Flash, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The risk of having the shit in your hands is just too high for it. You don't want to have to build in workarounds. You only have 99 cards to work with, and it seems like a lot of cards, but it's not. I mean, we've just been dicking around, and we have 65 cards in this list now with Pure Steel, right? I don't have space for Hulk piles in most decks, or at least I'm not thinking about Hulk piles. But if you're dedicated to doing that, then I think that Minx could probably be a good Protean Hulk commander. Mana Crypt and Mana Vault must have some money. Mosker 420, proxy these cards if you can't afford them, because I hate hearing people complain about shit like that. I do own these cards because I decided to put my money into them. But if you can't afford them, I want everyone to be playing the most competent game of Commander they can. So train this, and then if you can't afford the cards, proxy them. Who gives a shit? I'm not going to care. That way, if you lose, that's just a shame. Geez, these announcements are so cringe. They were a little cringe. Politicking, potential interesting with block. Politicking, maybe. Conqueror's Flail is quite a good Staxy Voltron piece. In the sense that Conqueror's Flail makes it so... Conqueror's Flail, if you guys don't know, it's the card that makes it so people can't cast things on your turn. And you get buffed by the amount of colors in your commander, or the... Nothing to do with commander. +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. So this can be good. You see it in a lot of Godo lists because Godo wins on the spot, and that's useful, right? So like if you're going to push a win, this is really good to cheat out and put on a Godo or anything really, because this is going to give you the opportunity to win on your turn. Because Godo, it's a straight line. It's like, what am I trying to do? Fast mana, this thing, win the game. Conqueror's Flail helps you get there. In Isamaru, I don't know, name me the big back-breaking play that Isamaru does on turn that we don't want people casting spells on my turn for. Right? And then I'll consider putting Conqueror's Flail. Rograk Arden is where I go for Voltron build. Probably. Seamus, only one I can think of is Leather Armor. Oh, Leather Armor is kind of cool. Were you looking at... What's the name of the equipment that has Ward? It's cheaper based. I think you mean Ward. I think you mean the Leather Armor. This one's kind of cute. This is almost like Conqueror's Flail, but it gives our guy a little bit of a buff, our little boy a little bit of a buff, and it's easy to equip. Now, someone was suggesting all that glitters, which would make this even more relevant because your creature gets buff for the number of artifact or enchantments you control, right? So if we just put down more value, I say value, Leather Armor could be value here, but if we put down more value pieces, this just gets better, right? So maybe that makes sense. And I'll add in all that glitters for now. I think that all that glitters can be actually a way to shut out the game if we're able to lay down as much hate as we want, right? I think most of our stacks is probably going to be enchantment based here because I think something like a Rest in Peace is where this is where this card belongs. A list that just does not care about your graveyard. And we'll go for this art, the new arena art, the art we'll never see. Put that in there. Aethersworn Canonist is a great card in Voltron. I have that in my... Aethersworn Canonist is a good card. So the issue with Aethersworn Canonist, there's no real issue, but the lists that are trying to play proactively, usually they're shooting out artifacts first. So, you know, they're going to be able to hop, skip, and jump over Aethersworn Canonist. But she's still really good at stopping Storm, right? In much the same sense that like a Damping Sphere is good at stopping Storm, although Damping Sphere might be a little bit better utility for doing that. This can stunt us in some instances, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Oh, we can certainly add Aethersworn Canonist. I'm fine with that. I think that makes sense here. Isn't there another card that's like all that glitters? Can you name that card? It might not be in these colors, or it's an equipment. I forget. Is there a 3-drop 2 and a white mana? No, I don't know about that. All right, let's just look at the let's do one more thing actually. We're gonna add a Ranger Captain of Eos for now, and we're gonna add a Recruiter of the Guard for now. Whether they stay, I don't know, but those are valuable tutors in most mono white lists. There's usually general targets for these two things. And so far as other tutors are concerned in these colors, there's not much. Okay. There's a helmet that gives +1/+1 for each enchantment. That might be what I'm thinking about. Nettle Cyst is a new card that I don't think I'm leveraging or have ever leveraged. But we can look at that really quick. If this is what... No. Is that how you spell it? Nettle Cyst. +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. So there's this, right? Is this part of a healthy aggro package? Maybe. Huh. All right. I mean, I don't know if we're really gonna use that, but we'll add Nettle Cyst to the side. But this is what I was asking for essentially. So I'm a liar. We'll put in the main deck. There we go. We'll put it right in the main deck. Plate armor, that's what I was thinking of. Sorry, it took me a minute to find. No, you're good. Did you think about Ancestral? I have not thought about Ancestral Mask. Is this the enchantment? Well, I've never thought about Ancestral Mask then. I haven't built for green in a minute. I'm not sure if that's what you meant. Helm of the Gods, Ethereal Armor have this effect for enchantments. I think we're probably good then on those. Golem Skin Gauntlets, holy shit, yes. Need those. So, we'll probably need to spell it right first, right? That always helps. For each equipment, those aren't bad either. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? So, here's the trick though. We want to make sure that we can get in there, right? So, I'm going to add hot soup for now. Don't ask questions. Just let it happen. Let's just look at the deck right now. We've got a lot of spaces left. I know. But what I want to do is just try to weed out anything we don't feel is going to make sense for this list. Obviously, Sigarda's 8 is a real priority item for us, but we don't. But we don't have great ways to find it. We did just get Moon Silver Cleric, Moon something Cleric, Moons. This just came out in Adventures. Moon Blessed Cleric, excuse me. This can be useful for finding our Sigarda's Aid, which is a little bit of a priority. And any 3CMC tutor I generally don't gravitate towards, but there is that last one, the one with the dove on it. I can't even remember it, so I'm not going to use it. But at least the body of Moon Blessed Cleric is useful, right? It could be something that we equip things to. Equipment side of Halvar, God of Battle, is great. This puts the... Yes. Okay, so it is pretty great. I do like the equipment side of Halvar. If you guys have never seen... If you've never fought against a Halvar, I'm sure it's just as frequently seen as Isamaru. And no offense to Halvar. It's just... Mono white is hard to do. So let's just start there. Mono white is extremely hard to do. It's better than black, but it's still hard to do. Sword of the Realms. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 in Vigilance. So Reconnaissance, what's that? Our boy's Vigilant. Whenever equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. So what's cool about this is that you can leverage this as a way to... You can use this with certain sacrifice effects to make infinite mana, pending the creature. But for the most part, it's less of a combo card and more of a value piece, right? And a pretty decent value piece at that. At 2CMC, that's really not that bad. And also the front end of Halvar is really not that bad for this list either. Like if we want to go for equipment specialist, cards that will help us cheat on equipment, this isn't bad. Because at the beginning of combat, it's very much like Arden. Not the same at all with how it works, but it's at the beginning of combat, attach. You may attach target or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. Arden's a little bit more flexible because it doesn't care if you control the creature. So that's why it's also just cheaper too. And a partner. Arden's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. We'll add Halvar for now though. If there's any other equipment-based creatures or strategies you want to rely on, let me know now and we can just add those before we start weeding out cards that we think don't work with this. The basic idea here for Shane, if you're watching, is to make this a Staxy list, right? Almost like you would a Balan. But light stacks, maybe emphasis on the Voltron pieces. We'll probably go for a fair amount of removal. Does this mean mass destruction? I don't think so, because it's going to be tricky enough just for us to build our board state to the point where we can dominate with equipment. Someone suggested Bloodforge Battle Axe. That's something that really is good, but it's really only good in tandem with certain legendaries like Balan or with pieces of enchantment like Sigarda's Aid and or Hammer of Nazan, right? And you can kind of make a case for Hammer of Nazan here. And maybe we put Bloodforge Battle Axe in because it is a fun piece of aggro, but it duplicates itself. The Battle Axe duplicates itself, so you can just pile on damage. So it's not so bad. And it's also just like free artifacts to break in certain lists, but here that's probably less relevant. But let me see here. Masterwork of Ingenuity. Idyllic Tutor is the one. Thank you. Thank you. I like your take on cEDH. Would you build a deck on request from a follower? Is it a Patreon? Joseph Hayhurst. It is a Patreon tier. So our brewmasters make suggestions for list, and then we'll do these bi-weekly. I'm trying to migrate these to being a bi-weekly thing. But yeah, I get a lot of deck requests from a lot of people. If you're just on the Discord and you make a suggestion that sounds interesting, I'll likely do it. Shout out to Mr. Blonde, who's on the Discord, who got me thinking about Maresil. So that's next week. But that, it was like, it's a Grixis list and I don't generally brew for blue, but it's got a unique effect that I would want to try. But yeah, maybe if you intrigue me enough on Discord, I'll consider it. But for the most part, an actual request to modify a pre-existing list, build one from scratch, that is a Patreon thing. Hammer of Nazan helps cheat on equipment. It does indeed. Leon and Shikari, maybe. This allows you to make the thing instant speed, like you can equip it instant speed. Leon and Shikari is just a little weak in my opinion. There's only so many instances where this is ultimately useful. Mind you, in tandem with Metalcraft Pure Steel Paladin, it's really great, right? And that way you can be like, oh, my Lightning Greaves? I'm going to just keep on targeting that thing to give it Shroud until you let me resolve this activation. Then it's kind of cool. But it does really require a perfect storm of things being on the battlefield. And Leonin Shikari is never something we're going to prioritize with Recruiter of the Guard. If we do go for a Recruiter of the Guard, it's likely going to go for, more specifically, our Pure Steel Paladin in that equation. I kind of like that better. I think Robe of Stars can be great protection. And this is a new one. Really new. I've not really explored the Commander... the precons, but there were some pretty cool cards in there. Equipped creature gets +0/+3 in astral protection. Equipped creature phases out. So if you're concerned about the equipment or auras that are on that creature, they're still there, except the creature is safe and those things are still in existence. So treat anything attached to it as though they don't exist. Oh, that's kind of cool. So like if you phase out, even if it were attached to a token, that token or that creature is never leaving the battlefield. So anything attached to it should be fine. But it looks like it also phases the things that are attached to it. That's actually really cool. And this is very easy to equip. Obviously, leaving 2 open, you got to have a lot of faith in our boy. And I think I do. So Robe of the Stars. Of Stars, excuse me. I do like that one a lot. That one's actually kind of cool. We'll use that here. Oswald Fiddlebender, at least yeah. I'm sorry, are you Seamus, are you suggesting Oswald Fiddlebender here? Sure. If you've watched any of the Brew Wars live recently, you know I really like Oswald. I mean, I'm playing the heck out of Oswald these days. Easily my favorite legendary to date. So damn good. So damn good. Consistency? Yes. Yes, thank you. That's all you care about in Commander if you're trying to play competitively. Just consistency. Having a tutor in the command zone? Consistency. A wealth of amazing artifacts to shoot for? So damn good. But yeah, it's probably going to be fine here. Prying Blade. Prying Blade makes treasures. I think we'll be okay. And it sounds like we want to add some removal. So maybe we can go about doing that now. Joseph Hayhurst. Well, look for Toshiro Umizawa request. New Secret Lair is gorgeous, and I've been considering him for a while. So thank you, Joseph, for the super chat. And Toshiro Umizawa is not as popular as his Jeet. But if you've not seen this, hopefully they have the new art. Okay, so if you guys haven't seen, they spoiled it before this announcement. I saw leaks of the Secret Lair. But there's a new Toshiro art as well as the Patron of the Moon, or what's his name? The guy with that sweet ass. There's a couple of really sweet Secret Lair drops that are based on the world of Kami, like a lot of Kami cards. Also a reprint of Carpet of Flowers that looks amazing. So if you care about your MTG art, that's there. But Toshiro Umizawa is kind of sick. I had considered building him. This is kind of a difficult list to make successful because of the playstyle and strategy. But it's definitely something I've considered, just so you know. Mono black is a difficult, it's the hardest color to play mono, in my firm opinion, having played them all. Outside of blue. I've played Justin's Naru though. Don't ever say that. One of you can Mirage Mirror into Robe of Stars, equip it, and then phase it out until your next turn. Maybe. In the same vein as Robe of Stars, Mantle of Ancients is some sort of recursion and can combo with Oswald too. Mantle of Ancients, you say? Combo with Oswald, you say? Mantle of Ancients. Oh, this is from the same set. I was like, I never heard of this. Okay, 5 CMC, Enchant Aura. Enchant creature you control. When Mantle of Ancients enters the battlefield, return any number of target aura or equipment cards that could be attached to enchanted creature from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to enchanted creature. Gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it. Well, he'll okay. So Oswald gets artifacts out, but I'm sure there might be something for this. I think that this is a good recovery piece late game. This is actually not bad. Like if the goal is to go the distance with Isamaru, slow things down, you'll ultimately be targeted and dogged. right? A lot of your shit's going to be removed. Boy, don't I know. When you play stacks. So this isn't so bad to help you recover off the back foot, particularly if you are leveraging a lot of Voltron-y pieces. This is going to help you pull back any artifact stacks and or hate bears, but this is not bad for some equipment. I'll put it on the sideboard for now. Okay. Kami of the Moon, thank you. Kami of the Moon, I think is the name. Slash the ranks for removal. Slash the ranks. Slash the ranks. Is this not the protection piece? Destroy all creatures and planewalkers except for commanders. I kind of hate. I don't know. It's just so damn expensive. I get the appeal though. I would almost want just a blanket destroy over this. Cathedral of War is too slow and mana base. Pet card of mine. Cathedral of War is this the one that gives them Exalted? Yeah. Okay. So Cathedral of War enters the battlefield, it's tapped. It's not too slow. It's like, what are we doing? We're casting something that's a 1-drop, right? That's not difficult. So long as my hand has a Lotus Petal, then this is really great turn 1 drop. It is only adding generic, but you're in mono white, so it's not the end of the world. By the way, do we have War Room in here? It's kind of big. I'll add in Cathedral of War for now, because I think Exalted is actually very beneficial for us. So yeah, why not try it? I'm not sure how high you go with CMC, but I like Divine Reckoning. Try to keep my removal suite to single target in most instances, unless the strategy is to wipe the board. In those cases, then, you know, if you're going wide, then your deck is definitely built a little differently than this. But so far as single target removal is concerned, hit me up with some of your favorites. But we've already said like Swords to Plowshares, which I just got the Strixhaven Japanese foil variant of, which I'm pretty stoked for. It looks so darn good. I just hadn't gone around. I haven't gone around to getting all my favorite Strixhaven arts. Those the archival alternative arts were just so good. We're gonna do Path to Exile. I like Dismantling Wave in this particular build. And we can look at more destruction pieces too while we're here. There aren't that many exile all destruction. There aren't that many exile all things. But we'll look at destroy. We also want to look into fragmentize. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a huge fan of Winds of Abaddon. I think Winds of Abandon is really good. It's really solid removal, particularly if you are dictating the pace of the game. Obviously, in something like Oswald, it's far more favorable because I can really dictate the pace of the game. Here, it's going to be a matter of luck, but even still, as a single target form of single target removal, it's good. For 1 generic, 1 white, it feels a little iffy. Some of the other single target removals that you generally go for in white are going to be unexpectedly absent. This is if you're going for the cEDH build, right? And then if you really need it, you can do gift. What is it? Something generous gift, I think is what it's called. This just got a new promo art. But yeah, you can also do generous gift if you want. I'm not sure we're there yet. I don't think we need generous gift. But that's also something you can do. Anyways, what I wanted to do was look up this. I kind of want to look up Mass Destroy, because I think Isamaru is really going to benefit from giving himself some form of evasion, getting in there doing damage, removing value pieces from our opponents, and then ultimately winning through attrition, right? That feels like the thing here. There is actually no combo baked into this yet. If you can think of a sweet Isamaru combo, let me know. That's something I would want to do, but it's not something that's weighing on my mind. Obviously, I have the Cloudstone Curio in there. My thought was that maybe we can do some bounce shenanigans. They aren't really great. I mean, okay, Village Bellringer. I'm trying to think like Cloudstone Curio, Isamaru, Village Bellringer. Metalworker and the Myrrh that makes white. I don't know. This is like, there's really no great combos in mono white that are easy to get to outside of artifacts. And obviously something like Auriok Salvager LED is really cute and all, but you really need a payoff for that. You need an outlet for that. So it's not something we're going to aim for here. I see Armored Skyhunter helps dig on attack. Armored Skyhunter gens, yeah, it's like a 4 CMC card. This came out in Commander Legends. I have a copy behind me. You know what? Yeah. I want to try Armored Skyhunter, honestly. I've always wanted to play it, so this is a good opportunity to do that. Call me of the Crescent Moon, thank you. Single combat slash the ranks. Yeah. Thoughts on Dimensional Breach? Maybe to fairies in response. Thoughts on Dimensional Breach? This doesn't sound like a white card. Is it? Yeah, oh my god, Scourge. Oh, the secrets you've hidden. Exile all permanents. Well, it's kind of a blowout if it resolves, right? So you really need, in mono white, it's going to be difficult to say Dimensional Breach to Fairy's Protection, right? It's just going to be difficult to do that. If you have the robe on that phases out Isamaru and everything that's equipped to it, then maybe Dimensional Breach makes sense. The stuff I like are things like Balancing Act. Like if we're going to dig into the archive here, this is like mass removal that I like. Balancing Act, 2 generic double white sorcery. Each player chooses a number of permanents they control equal to the number of permanents controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacrifices the rest. Each player discards cards the same way. So this is a really great way to eliminate strategies like a Nagila. Nagila is making just a mess of bodies. You can sort of eliminate that. But what's cool is it's not, unlike a balance effect that specifically dictates the type of permanent, you can sort of control at least what you keep and what you sacrifice. So there's a little bit of choice here. And obviously if you're behind, which white for some strategic purpose always wants to be, then Balancing Act is very good. Obviously a little bit of an oddity though in most settings. It's not something you're going to generally shoot for, but I like that kind of mass removal. A little bit more choice, a little bit more political, someone would say. Political, maybe. Dispatch. Oh, you're right. We're still talking about removal, and I'm actually behind on this chat. That's why. We'll add the portable hole, and we'll add portable hole. And we'll add Dispatch. I think Dispatch will actually find a home here. I think it will be good. Dispatch is a card that's instant speed and just taps down a creature, but if you have Metalcraft, it will exile that creature instead. So it's actually quite good. Detainment Spell is kind of cute, but I got to tell you, Detainment Spell in my Sithis deck is fantastic. So sure. For sure. Oh, neat. I forgot Scryfall exists. Yeah, it does. It definitely does, Monica. Armageddon feels right. Armageddon feels right. Also, thanks for giving Mono White some love. Always. Always. It's easily my favorite colored. Hot Soup and Whisper Silk Cloak gives unblockable. I have Hot Soup in the list already. Loyal Warhound for Doggo Synergy. How loyal is the Warhound? Let's find out. Enters the battlefield. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic planes, put it on the battlefield tapped. Why does it gotta be tapped? 3/1, Doggo Synergy. Is that a Kithkin? Ignore that. We only care about the doggos today. Yeah, we'll add the Loyal Warhound. Who knows? Who knows? It's just a step above that. What was that card from Ixalan? It was an amazing card. It was a 3/1 Raptor, and it like was great for trading up, easy to put down. It was vanilla, but 3/1s are great. 3/1s are fantastic. Like, block it. Sure, block it. Let's trade this shitty little creature for that. Obviously in Commander, different story. But 3/1 might be good. Kind of like Cataclysm. Kind of like Cataclysm, yeah. If we're talking about Balancing Act still. There's always Out of Time. All right. There is always Out of Time, huh? This is a new one. When Out of Time enters the battlefield, untap all creatures, then phase them out until Out of Time leaves the battlefield. Put a time counter on Out of Time for each creature phased out this way. So, our poor doggo. don't know. So what's interesting about Out of Time and what makes Out of Time decent is the word phasing. The fact that you can eliminate, because like if I make your Tymna phase out, you don't just get to say, oh, it's phased, I'm going to put it in the command zone. No, it's there. You just don't get to play with it. And you don't get to play with it until this is done with its vanishing. So yes, it's good, but we are trying to play an aggro-centric strategy. So we would want to play this before doggo. Right? If we phase out our own dog, it's pretty trash. In my opinion. It's good. If we weren't so concerned, if we had like, I don't know, if I was playing Rograk and Tevesh, I guess, and this was in Rakdos, this would be amazing. Here it's a little difficult for us because we are trying to use doggo for value. I think I am talking about Raptor Companion, yes. Yes, I am. I thought it was red. Yes. When I got back into Magic the last time, it was with Ixalan, which was not a great set to reintroduce someone to Magic, but it was fine enough for me. And Raptor Companion is what I'm thinking about. It's very similar to the Loyal Warhound. Winds of Wrath is great. Yeah, if you run auras, maybe. Do you think Raptor Echo Skeleton is worth it? Maybe. Rambunctious Mutt for kicks. Good boy tribal. Here. Let's just look at where we're at. Let's look at where we're at right now. And again, I want to cut some things. But let's see. I'm going to keep following you guys. Oh, I didn't add Silence or Angel's Grace yet. You're absolutely right, though. We should definitely add Silence. We can add Orm's Chant. We can add an Abeyance. We can add all of that stuff. But let's just take a gander at what we got. I do think Hammer of Dazan is a shoo-in. It might be the best card for the deck. We'll keep it. Nettle Cyst. Just the name is nasty. I just don't like it for the name. Get rid of it. I don't like the name. I don't know that we are going to get the most out of Yamiji. I also don't know that we're going to get the most out of Cloudstone Curio. So I'll put that to the side for now. Champion Helm, maybe we'll get the most out of it. Nettle Cyst might make sense, though. Damn it, it does make sense. Okay, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Hero's Blade. Hero Blade just feels iffy to me. Yeah, it feels iffy. Mask of Memory, rather. Robe of Stars, love it. Gotta run with the Robe of Stars. The Bloodforge Battle Axe. This is something that was discussed earlier. But when a creature deals damage to a player creature token, that's a copy of Bloodforge Battle Axe. So if you happen to have multiple Bloodforge Battle Axes, they will all have this text. They will all make copies of themselves. You will, for sure, damage out the board, provided there aren't enough blockers. I do like Golem Skin Gauntlets a little bit more than our Nettle Cyst. It's just easier to work with. It isn't as buffed, and you don't get the defense, but that's okay. Hot Soup is really cute. It's cuter with, like, Arden in the command zone because it's just a 1-drop that you can auto-equip, but whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, destroy it. But otherwise, it's unblockable, right? So it's actually quite good. That doesn't work well in tandem with things like Infiltrator Lens, but we're going to be crossing our fingers, damn it. We'll cross our fingers. We've got Skeleton Key. We've got all the things that let us draw. All the things that let us draw. Oh, lowest on the list. We could probably make room in this deck for Mother of Runes, a Giver of Runes. Like, these things will make sense. If you needed to add a combo, you could add Heliod Walking Ballista, right? Just to have a thing to say, I can close out the game. But I would rather look at some stacks pieces first. Heliod by himself might be okay. And I mean, Sun Crown, obviously. But where are you, boy? What's cute here is whenever you gain life, you get a +1/+1 counter on target creature enchantment. So you can give the doggo lifelink, you can plus it, yada, yada, yada. There's no natural life gain here, unfortunately. Just sweet, sweet flavor text. But it can be decent for the doggo. So if you guys want to add... Here, there's the first poll of the day. Oh my god. Let me ask. Do we Heliod? Do we Heliod? And let me know. Rambunctious Mutts, yeah, we talked about them. Gift of Estates is nice to have. I might want Tithe over that. I may want Tithe over that. Why not play Arden anything? Edmund, Oliver, you jumped in late. I'm going to encourage you to skip back to the beginning of this video to learn why. All right. Let's go ahead and add some of those value pieces we were just discussing, like silence, right? We want silence. Silence is good. Silence is good. I think I want an Orm's Chant. I think I want an Abeyance. I think I want Mother of Runes. I think I want Giver of Runes. Oof Runes. Just because the protection is pretty sweet for getting in there as well, right? And someone said Angel's Grace. Jens, you said Angel's Grace. I'm going to hold off on Angel's Grace for now. If Angel's Grace, my core philosophy on card decisions for list. If Angel's Grace is really just there to combat one card, being Thassa's Oracle, however prevalent Thassa's Oracle is, it doesn't make sense for the list. It doesn't do your list justice to have one card out of 99 specifically dedicated for a particular win. Now, if it was a list that it also incorporated Ad Nauseam, then you could say, well, this is also good in tandem with Ad Nauseam because it lets me draw the deck, whatever. That's something different. But if you're only using this as a countermeasure to that, then I might just say, why don't you just manipulate Torpor Orb instead? Like, why don't you just run a Torpor Orb? Because this way, like, Doggo don't care. He didn't really care. Stoneforge Mystic will care, but Doggo don't care. But damn, I don't know. Dockside Extortionist, dead. Spellseeker, dead. Any of your Enter the Battlefield's tutor effects, like the little Tinkerers, all that stuff, your Thassa's Oracle, all that stuff is just dead. That seems a little bit better to me. It also sort of plays in line with the more artifact, more damage stuff we have here. So I think we're probably going to go for that instead. Basilisk Collar would be good for lifelink and thematic. I have Basilisk Collar as the, you might notice, as the featured card here. So, yeah. Yes. You're right. I think thematically it makes a ton of sense. I think that might be it for all the protection granting things I want. We may want to include another sword in here. Another sword. Oh. You'd say like Sword of the Animist isn't bad. I kind of like the swords that, I don't know. We have Skull Clamp in here, and it's kind of useless if I'm being honest. It's not really. It doesn't have a great target. I like Hearth and Home a little bit. Hearth and Home's not bad with other ET beers. Obviously, we did just drop the Torpor Orb in there. If we were going to be honest about adding stacks, though, which I think we should probably consider, the Rule of Laws aren't bad. Like, we've added Aethersworn Canonist. I don't think anything like... we have added Deafening Silence already as well. Archon of Emeria. Someone earlier mentioned Aven Mind Sensor. I actually really like running something called Hushwing Gryph for much the same purpose as a Torpor Orb. If you've never seen Hushwing Gryph, it's just a 3CMC flash variant of that, but creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. The thing is, you can do this instantaneously. You can do this in response to a game-winning play. So it is obviously more expensive than, casting a Angel's Grace, but it's still there for the same purpose, and it's quite good. It's also just another body that you can equip things to. If we're going this route, I think that Big Thalia, Big and Little Thalia would be good. Although, we're not really well suited for stacks, if I'm being honest. A list like Oswald in mono white, and it's easy to draw comparisons between mono white lists, because there's only one that reigns supreme. That's really good at stacks because it's relying on activated abilities, and not that many people are on Linvala, Keeper of Silence, and or a Cursed Totem, right? Opposition agent's like the main thing you see. But what's nice about that is that you can get around taxes, Trinispheres, things of that nature. Here, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So things that can slow our opponents down are actually quite good, like Orb of Dreams and or Thalia Heretic Cathar. And she's actually pretty decent here. I think she's fine. I don't think there's any other things, like Archon of Emeria and just that, right? I think it's just those two that make it so that lands come into play under your opponent's control tapped. So that might be the only thing we add there. Any other hate bears you guys would like to see? And I'm going to end this poll in just a minute. I see Grafted Exoskeleton again. I'm just okay on Grafted Exoskeleton. So Grafted Exoskeleton is like a way to wipe out an opponent, but it's 4 to drop. I own a foil copy because I played it in Balan. So, you know what? Why not? I'll put it in Grafted Exoskeleton. It exists. If I ever make Isamaru, we could play it. Iganjo Castle. Iganjo Castle, I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm probably butchering it. But this is really cool white land. Next 2 damage would be dealt to target legendary creature. You prevent it. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. How expensive is this right now? Oh, it's okay. That's not so bad. Yeah, we could add Iganjo Castle. Why not? Order of the Sacred Torch is a little bit of a cute card. It's slow, but if you've never seen Order of the Sacred Torch, it's good because it's like you can counter a black spell, right? So you're only really hurting one type of player. But the threat of activation is a lot. This does require removal. You know, this is good for getting rid of the Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pack. This is equally good at stopping the ad nauseum, stuff like that. I do find that it's sometimes too little too late, especially if those decks are really going off. But in a dedicated stacks list, Order of the Sacred Torch is fine. We'll see if it stays. We'll see if it stays. And again, because this is a slower list and it's not very deliberate, and I mean, by deliberate, I mean something that can consistently do a thing. This is a list that's, because our commander doesn't offer anything to the package outside of a very quick to get out legendary, this is going to be waffling about so far as what we pull into, because it's going to be in top deck mode the whole time, right? So let's see where we're at. I think we are over 100. Okay. Peacekeeper, Order of the Sacred Torch. We get that one twice. Did he stop playing Tiny Bones? The deck tech he made hasn't been changed or updated since it was made. You could just ask me, Tutor. Did I stop playing Tiny Bones? I did. I did indeed. Mono Black is very difficult to play. And I got hated very, very much playing Tiny Bones. It's extremely difficult to get back off your back foot with Tiny Bones when people are dogpiling you. And you're also, you just submit to certain forms of interaction and or stacks because you don't really have very good removal, especially enchantment. You can say Feed the Swarm, but that is 1 card out of 99, and I don't want to waste a Demonic Tutor to pull Feed the Swarm, Jesus. But yeah, it's rough. It was really rough. The only list I maintain and update are the list I regularly play. So if you follow along, Oswald Fiddlebender, Sithis, Rograk, and Tevesh, which, to be perfectly honest, I don't really care about ad nauseum. And this was just a list to answer the need for ad nauseum, or at least everyone's asking me for an ad nauseum deck. You can, and then Belby. Those are the lists I update. Okay. Hikori, Strict Proctor, Wandering Archaic. Oh my god, Ruben. All the answers. If there isn't a Cyberpunk Isamaru in Neon Dynasty, I'm going to cry directly into Mark Rosewater's shirt. He might like that. Who knows? Fragmentize, Steel Shaper's Gift, Winds of Abandon, Open the Armory, and Dismantling Wave. Love it, love it, love it. Our land base. Maybe a little too much. I think we can probably go down 1 land. And on that note, we're going to remove a plains. I think we could stick with 29 because our curve isn't that high and Isamaru is 1 mana, so I think we could probably go with a Sensei's Dividing Top in here as well, just to say. I also think we could probably go for a land tax. There are some cards we didn't add that are staples in white, but let's just forego that for now. Abeyance is a good silence that replaces itself. Orm's Chance, a good silence that stops strategies that rely on attacking. Godo, very good. Unexpectedly Absent, Path to Exile, Silence, all these things are good. Dispatch is cute synergy for the deck. It works here because I think we're at that threshold of artifacts where Dispatch will have Metalcraft. I certainly hope. All that glitters, I'm just iffy on, but I think is going to be good for the deck. If it offered flying, because damn, I'm looking at a fairy playing with gold. I wish it offered flying. It would be very good if it did, but we need very good in mono white. We definitely do. Rest in Peace is amazing. If there were more, we would add them. Yes, there's Samurai of the Pale Curtain. I don't think so. Oh, I want to destroy all thing. I wanted something like, oh, what's that? There's a new one. I mean, it was just strictly trumped by our friend Dothy Voidwalker. But there is a white creature from Modern Horizons 2, Sanctifier Envec. If a black or red permanent spell or card not on the battlefield would be put into a graveyard, exile instead. God, so limited. Why is this so limited? All right, never mind. Not going to incorporate that. But more Rest in Peace would be great. I would love Rest in Peace. War Room in the list already? Hell yeah. Switch the Plains art to the doggo one from Jumpstart. Oh my god. Wait. Here, we'll do this right. Wait, I don't know what the doggo one from Jumpstart is, but I agree. What is the doggo one from Jumpstart? Here, this is important. This is important, guys. To the chat. This is the best way I've found to find the art you want, because it'll actually give you a preview, right? Those aren't dogs. There's too many. Oh, there we go. 14. Oh my god. No. Hey, that's good. Okay, we got there. Terminus and Senseis. I agree with Senseis. And if you mean the Gideon, the 3CMC Gideon, is being suggested right now. To be honest, this would not be bad for the deck because Doggo might have Vigilance for a good amount of the time, or be able to untap or whatever. So we'll be able to protect a Gideon of Trials. That's not so bad. Yay, let's do that. Let's add Senseis. I don't know about Terminus, but let's add Senseis. Divining Top. I like it here. We have all the fetch lands. Let's add land tax. Not that. Land tax. And let's add Gideon. Ooh. What did I just say his name was? Of the Trials. Gideon of the Trials. I also kind of want to add Karn. I just remember that they released new art for this Karn, so it's not going to be here though. We'll do that. Sure. Okay. That's what I want. You can't lose, Gideon. Thank you for the suggestion. And we're going to end this poll. I meant to end this ages ago. But do we Heliod? I think the answer is no. Sadly, we don't Heliod today, folks. I'm sorry. We are all in on the style/aggro points. So let's do that. Is this the Doggo land? Yeah, it is. I actually like the one with the shield better. Sorry. But I can agree with the Doggo. I can agree with the Doggo for this list. It makes sense. Thematically, it makes sense. Alright, I think we're back to removing stuff. Detainment spell is fine. I think Detainment spell is, I'm a little iffy on. All that glitters is really the only aura I want to shoot for. Reconnaissance is okay. Reconnaissance is just okay here. Okay. I'll need some convincing otherwise, but I'm going to add Reconnaissance to the side for now. Just okay here. I do want a little additional draw with Mungara Diplomat. Also, I was thinking of Heliod, and that might be why I went for this, but he does have lifelink. But the draw is really what's more important here. Halvar's fine. The digging with Armored Skyhunter, I want to see if that's actually put to use. I feel like it's a little sluggish. Obviously with Lightning Greaves, different story, but Onto the Battlefield is kind of nice. Man, you do a lot for 4. It's just so slow. Okay. So, Arden in the 99, still fine. Okay, so let's just see how much these things cost to equip. Let's just see what we have. We got to remove some things, and I got to tell you, Jeweled Lotus is iffy for the 0 drops, right? Basilisk Collar is just fine. The Death Touch is kind of evasion. I'm sorry. I know there's a dog in the image, but it's just not good enough for this list. If the Death Touch and Lifelink was relevant, like if I was putting this on a pinger, like if this was Marath, different story. Like hitting something with Death Touch and just killing it, different story. Here it's just okay. I feel fine with the rest of these cards. Probably get rid of Felwar Stone. We don't quite need it. Again, though, it is nice to have the additional ramp. It's not like we're really laying down stacks in the sense of having taxing effects on the board. So it's not like we need the additional mana. Arcane Signet is still fine, though. I do want to leave at least this many artifacts. I know Grafted Exoskeleton is a finisher for the deck, but I'm not certain that it's a good one. I hate to say it. Alright, so we've got 3 more cards to remove. And I think they're going to be creatures. I really think so. I kind of want that Felwar Stone back. Got a lot of double white pips here. There's some. Not a lot. There's some. Gideon is sort of the big one. So it's not so bad. I don't think we need it. We're good. Scratch that. I do think these on ETB, like, this is enough with the Torpor Orb. I do think that we need to remove some of these creatures. I like how these play into each other, but Kelith is just okay. Kelith feels just okay. Fiddlebender's good because we definitely want to get some of these better artifacts. And we are at that threshold. Like, we've got a lot of artifacts going for us. Hey, you know what? Shit. We do need to add one more card. We need to add an Aethersworn Canonist. Not Aethersworn Canonist. I was just looking at her. But I was thinking of artifact creatures. And we need to add an Esper Sentinel. Okay, that's what I meant. Okay. Is Rest in Peace the doggo art? There's a cat. Is there dog art for Rest in Peace? I thought it was just a cat. Is Jeweled Lotus just for command tax? Jeweled Lotus is just there so that we can put the boy into play and then have additional plays potentially on that turn. Again, I'm not really high on it. It's okay. We can remove it for now. We do need to desperately remove some things though, so we can get to testing this. Why aren't the other good swords being run? Name them. What do you mean? Sword of the Animist? Do you like Sword of the Animist? Do you like Sword of Feast and Famine? The Combo King? Sword of Fire and Ice is in here, but they're all costly. They're all extremely costly. And I would kind of rely... we want to rely on the evasion / damagey things is what this is doing. But the protection is really sweet. So yeah, we could add other swords. Name a sword you want, and then we'll consider it. How about that? That's a good way to go about that. That's a diplomatic way for me to ask you what swords you want. Not sure Ranger Captain does enough. Not really. Ranger Captain is just there for the protection pieces in Esper Sentinel. It was initially added just for the value of it, but I agree. Ranger Captain isn't... Oh god, this art though is so good. It's not really pulling enough weight here, so we can take it out. I just like his protection value. Yeah, no, I agree. Drop the Horse and Bastion Protector, maybe. Bastion Protector is just... I'm iffy on it because it's only good for Doggo. And Bastion Protector is honestly better for a partner-paired list. So I can agree with that. I think Bastion Protector in like an Arden build would be kind of cute. But even still, I'm not even sure Arden really cares. But a 3/3 human, that's like that really passes vanilla test. That's actually really good. I only just recently saw this. I'm like, this is kind of cool. But I don't think we're going to need to play it or want to play it here. Sword of Feast and Famine was the main one. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, look at the curve. Like, what we're untapping. I think the discard can be meaningful, though. I do think the discard can be meaningful. Oh my god, we're 94% competitive. Is this the best Isamaru Hound of Konda list? Let's find out. I think that we can add swords or whatever the heck else we want in due time. Let's just see if we really need it. And this seems like an okay start. We don't have any equipment to really utilize the Sigarda's Aid, but we do have a great way to get an enchantment out of our deck. We have the Rest in Peace in hand, and we got some lovely doggies as well. So, and also a way to put +1 counters on Isamaru. Let's just keep this and see what happens. Okay, so we'll do Plains, Isamaru. That's the whole goal, right? We are going to drop down the Chrome Mox, and it does feel weird, but of these cards, I feel the least useful is going to be the Sigarda's Aid, because I'd rather shoot for an enchantment I need. Although, didn't we eliminate... It would just be all that glitters now. That's kind of like playing into the aggro package. And the only other enchantment we really wanted was Rest in Peace. It's kind of why I added her for this. So we can kind of we just get rid of her. I think that would be okay. We'll put down Sensei's Divining Top. And this way we can sort of peel into something useful on our next turn. Although, I think we kind of want the 2 mana regardless. Let's just natural draw here and see what happens. Another Plains. Yes, this is an instance where you can go for the Animal Sanctuary, and I think that makes sense. So we'll do that, but we will go into the Rest in Peace here, right? So we'll do Rest in Peace here and here, and we'll leave the Plains open. Sigarda's Aid is cute, but it's not necessary, and I would rather get a better draw out of my next turn than just have Sigarda's Aid down. Also, holding open the 1 might provide some fear. It's not like we're holding an island, but whatever, we have it. We'll use it to look at the top 3, though. So 1, oh my god, Loyal Hand, Dread of Magistrate. Wow, which of these is the better? I gotta tell you, I really wish we had a fetch land, right, to utilize. Esper Sentinel is the best of the lot, though, if I'm being honest with you, because we kind of need that draw. I'm sorry, Isamaru went sideways. The dog is always going to be sideways in these games. Bear that in mind. But we'll put this on top. And Loyal Hounds is going to probably... No, we do have a fetch, but we do need to have less lands than one of our opponents, right? I got to tell you, though. Okay, so I have to say, I really like... I want to line it up like this. Look, if Drannith Magistrate could come down and stop 3 players from playing their commanders, then maybe it would be more of a priority of mine. But I think that right now I can put it safely behind these 2 because I kind of want to shuffle my deck. And benefit of the doubt, I would say that Esper Sentinel is going to get at least 1 draw out of turn 3, so we should be able to get Drannith out of our deck before we play the Hound. Right? And at least that's how I'm going to play this. So we'll do it 1, 2, because we're going to do... sorry, I'm thinking about the next turn. We're going to go... Oh, damn. 2, 3. We'll play Sigardas this time. Ooh, do we play Sigardas this time? I didn't think we played Sigardas yet. Because I kind of want the option... Oh, damn. I kind of want the option to be able to put a 1/1 counter on Isamaru. Not even the option. I kind of just want to do that now. Whatever. We'll hit someone for 3. We'll hit someone for 3, and then we'll go. This is Isamaru's buffs. He's +1. This taps us out, but whatever. The Rest in Peace is still there. I feel good about life. Cool. We draw 1 card, then we draw the Drannith Magistrate, right? And we would have to assume at this point that someone has more lands than us. Otherwise, this doesn't work, right? If an opponent controls more lands than you. Yeah, we'll do the boy now. And we will tap here and here. And this will put a Plains into the battlefield. It's tapped, right? So, Plains, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Tapped. Sadly, we can't put more counters on Isamaru, but we can play a Drannith Magistrate, and I think that's okay too. But you get the general idea here. This is turn 4. Assuming we got 1 draw as for Sentinel, this is a pretty good start. We've got decent stacks with with amazing stacks with Rest in Peace, and then Drannith Magistrate is really just doubling down on the same thing. So if you get rid of Rest in Peace, then your Underworld Breeze strategy is going to have a tough time through Drannith Magistrate still. And if you haven't cast your commander yet, if your commander was removed, because Lord knows no one's going to be targeting Isamaru, I highly doubt, you're going to have a tough time recasting it through a Drannith. So there's a lot of layers going on. But we also have a Vigilant 3-1 Doggo. So super hyped about that. I think we can fool with this just a little bit more. My wish would be that we had extra mana to look at the top 3 here. But we're just going to go for this. Oh, sure, whatever. Actually, you know, here, we'll do this little trick during the upkeep just to see if we can get equipment. But no. We'll do the Cathedral this time around. And oh god, what are we doing? We're gonna use one of these. That was for the Sensei's Dividing Top. And then oh my god, then we'll do the Cathedral of War tapped. Then we'll give Exalted, and then we'll swing. All right. This is all assuming that we didn't get any additional draw of Esper Sentinel. But right there, I'm gonna tune in with you guys and see where you're at with this list. Is it 94% competitive? I'm not really sure. Okay, Godsend I think could also be pretty good. Maybe. Still pretty high on Commander's Plate. Did we not add Commander's Plate? I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure Commander's Plate is in here. Yeah. Phyrexian Revoker, Spirit of the Labyrinth, Grand Abolisher are some recommendations. Oh, are they, Gabe? Oh, are they? No, they're not in the list, but Archon of Emeria is in the deck. Phyrexian Revoker's fine if you want to pile shit onto one player. As you can see, the issue with mono white is the fact that we fall prey to the top deck, which is actually part of the ongoing battle of Luca versus Dabble, the fate of the flip. It's what players have to do when they don't have draw utilities or tutor utilities in hand or in the command zone. They're just prey to whatever their deck gives them. So in instances where I top deck a Phyrexian Revoker, this doesn't feel great because I'm only really stunting one player, right? Obviously, you can say something that every list might universally use, like a Necropotence, so that's a little bit of a different story, right? Abilities of the Chosen Source can't be activated. So you could say, like, I think in most cases this is like to shut down the one guy like Razaketh, okay, Najila, okay, and this is fine. But if this is my one top deck and I shut one opponent down, that doesn't feel like enough to me. If I'm relying on top decking, I want to make sure that everything I pull into stops everyone, right? So I'm sort of off Phyrexian Revoker personally. Spirit of the Labyrinth is great because we don't have much draw as a mono white list, and Spirit of the Labyrinth falls into the 2 mana value slot, so that's actually not a bad suggestion. That we can use. J-Throne, oh man, I missed the most of the deck building. I'm sorry. We still have a little bit to fool with. I do kind of want to add Spirited Labyrinth. I don't hate that. But I do want to incorporate maybe... Hit me up. What is your favorite... More? This doesn't even require a poll. J-Throne, thank you for the super chat. But hit me up with your favorite equipment. What do you guys want to see in Isamaru? What do you think would benefit our sweet, sweet boy? I think that a Spirit of the Labyrinth is not a bad piece of stacks to potentially incorporate. I think that makes sense here. I do think that the shuffle effect is actually kind of important, especially if we have Sensei's Divine Top on the field. So like a Tithe for tutoring lands is not a bad idea. I know it feels a weird inclusion, but it is good for the shuffle effect. It is good for the thinning because, again, my turn 1 draw when I had that many lands in hand and it was a Plains felt shit. It really felt shit. Like you really do suffer through top decking in mono white normally. If you're playing Oswald, it's not such an issue. Most other decks, you're sort of just prey to it though. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on what other includes you'd like for Isamaru. I want to make some revisions here and then we'll try it again. I did cut that game short because you could see where the deck is going, right? Do you think this should have some sort of mass destruction element to it? World Slayer was just suggested. It's a little hinky though because our boy isn't indestructible, and we just took out Bastion Protector, right? Yeah, so he's never going to be indestructible. I don't know if we have a way. No, we've hammered his on, but that's a little odd. Stoneforge isn't really going to prioritize World Slayer, I don't think. At any rate, I see Shadow Spear. So Shadow Spear is a little bit of an oddity, but it's a nice one for some aggro builds. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has trample and lifelink. Trample is really good for just getting through with damage, especially if we're trying to aim for commander damage. Permits your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So that effect is not as important because hexproof and indestructible are usually not. I want to say like the main sources of removal in a cEDH setting aren't even technically removal. It's bounce. It's like the Chain of Vapor, or the Into the Royal, or it's the Swords to Plowshare, or the Deadly Rollick. Now, mind you, there are still things that say destroy, like your Nature's Claim and whatnot, but for the most part, the meaningful removal, it doesn't really destroy, oddly. However, you know, cards like Fire Covenant still a thing, so like if there is an indestructible thing that we need to remove, maybe this is useful. That little bit of utility on the back end is not good enough for the doggo. This isn't a piece of equipment that I would be excited to see, I guess is what I'm saying. A Bloodforged Battle Axe I would still be excited to see, because at least with the mana I am just not using, I can equip more Bloodforged Battle Axes and maybe get something out of my turn. That would be useful, right? Nettle Cyst would probably be good here. I think we have Nettle Cyst in the list. Sorry, J-Throne. Yeah, it's in the deck. I agree though. I agree. We all agreed, actually. That's why it's here. I'm unfortunately going to have to go. It's almost midnight in the UK. Stream has been great so far. Thank you, Ruben Smith, for joining. Thank you for all your suggestions. You easily made the most, and they were all good. So thank you so much. And good night. Alms Collector is a stacks piece that's good against wheels. We could use it if you want. Trailblazer Boots is pretty good. I think Trailblazer Boots is pretty good. So Trailblazer Boots is an interesting way to get in for damage because it offers non-basic land walk. A quick cost of two, maybe a little iffy. Art amazing. So obviously I'm a huge fan, but it's not offering the buff that we want. But I do like I do like them. I'm not sure they're gonna make it to the main list, but we can try to squeeze them in. Trample on Shadow Spear seems pretty relevant. Okay, let's look at trample effects on equipment and aura just to see if there aren't more relevant trampler effects. Because we only played one test game, but Isamaru at most was doing 3 damage. So trample on 3 damage, most of the commanders you're going to be swinging at are going to be able to just eat that and probably eat the dog, which is horrible. We don't want that. Equip creature token, team pennant. What in the world? Only creatures with 3. I don't know if trample's super relevant as much as evasion would be. That's why I sort of like the Trailblazer Boots more, right? Because I don't need to worry about your board state at all. I can just say I'm going to hit you, which is nice, right? But maybe there's a good piece of trample equipment out there. That's sort of what I want to look at right now. Vigilance in trample is actually really good. Whenever equipped creature dies, attach Forebearer's Blade to target creature you control. That's kind of cool. I don't like that it's 3 CMC. Really high on any of these. Obviously, with Sigarda's aid, you know, anything is possible. Hammer of Dazan, anything is possible. But, yeah. Do we have Pack Leader? We did. I don't know if it's in the list right now, but we did. It is in the list right now. Let's just go with what we got. Let's go with what we got. Let's finalize Isamaru. Let's try it one more time. Guys, if you want to test play this list, you can do so as well. The link should be in the description, and of course, it's updating as soon as I'm updating it here. I think that the draw utilities are by far and away the most important to this deck, so we want to keep every single one of those. I do think that Grafted Exoskeleton, if we can't get there, then it's not useful. Indestructible +2/+0 and the ability to auto-equip is really decent still on Hammer of Nazan, so I want to keep that. Nettle Cyst is great. I think having Doggo be protected with Hexproof is actually very relevant. I do think the cost of this is expensive, though, so I want to get rid of that. I also think that we only need to remove one more thing. So I just added Tithe. I kind of want to keep Tithe, but I'm not certain it's the best thing in the world. Deafening Silence, all these are all good. And again, it was good that we added Mungara because we needed the draw. And SRAM, at least from that test play, SRAM and Pure Steel Paladin were kind of like in a rut. Like they wouldn't have been drawing much at all. But again, that was just that instance. I do think Arden is going to be largely unnecessary because I don't think we're going to get as much equipment out and need Arden as often as he would be useful in a list that was dedicated to Arden, right? But that's it. Here, boy. Let's go. Still 94%? Still 94%. This is one of the higher rated decks we've made on Brewmaster and or Cold Brew. Tapped Out clearly thinks this is something special, so let's try it. All right. Mox Opal with this hand, huh? Here's what I do like about it. I do like sort of Fire and Ice being something that we can play immediately here. With us trying to hit Metalcraft, I'll also state that this wouldn't be a bad list for Ancient Den or Darksteel Citadel or Treasure Vault, right? Those are artifact lands, right? Those would be pretty good here because they'll help us meet the threshold. And I kind of feel like they would be useful here. We'll keep this. Why not? That's what I want to see off the top. Okay, so we have Isamaru, Houndakunda. We'll do the Mox Amber. We'll do the Mox Opal to get out of our hand. Who knows if someone's trying to wheel. We want to avoid that. We obviously have 1 mana open, but nothing to do with it. Our next turn is actually quite good. City of Traders is one of my favorite lands for many reasons, but it lets you rush out certain strategies. I think we have enough mana to play and equip that, though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, which is what we're going to want to do. So I'll pass. Yes, it's going to go away after this. Is it probably better to do Robe of Stars as opposed to sort of Fire and Ice? No. Sorry. It's online. Bam, bam. Does it resolve? Are you worried about the dog now? Are you worried now? Swing. Damage. The dork. I'll draw a card. Cool. Love it. All right, let's get the most out of that City of Traders before it goes away. And sometimes I'll legitimately just skip a land drop to keep City out because the ramp is that crucial. If you've never played with City of Traders, it does feel odd in a lot of scenarios. Like, it's self-destructive, but it's better than a Crystal Vein, in my opinion. It's saved my ass in so many situations. It's one of the reasons I win a lot of my Oswald games, oddly enough. But it's a fantastic land. Again, expensive. If you don't own it, proxy it. Proxy it. I'll always advocate for proxies. I would love to just abolish the reserve list. That would be amazing. It'd be amazing. Shit like Imperial Seal, still expensive. Not on the reserve list. All right, so the question is, do we attack first? Or do we get even more damage on the board? This is a much better starting hand than the previous game, by the way. This is actually a very good starting hand. Mentor of the Meek is going to come out, if we're looking at how you'd sequence things, it's going to come out before Isamaru, or after, rather, Isamaru. Isamaru will be down already. And if we're relying on other creatures entering the battlefield that meet the threshold for Mentor of the Meek, and then also having the mana to pay for Mentor of the Meek, it's not quite good enough draw in my book. But Pure Steel Paladin right now is pretty decent. So what I think we're going to try to do, I really don't mind just dropping the Robe of Stars after doing Pure Steel Paladin and then drawing, right? Doing 2 more damage, is that really a big deal? How would you want to sequence this, folks? So what we could do is do the City of Traders. We could play a land, and then we could drop Hammer, right? But we also want to put down... We want to draw. So let's do Pure Steel Paladin. This is gone. We have 2 mana floating. Hammer is kind of where I'm gravitating, but what I like about Robe of Stars is that if I just leave the mana open, I'm able to protect Isamaru from here on out, right? That's really not that bad. Also, obviously, this is going to be able to equip for 0. So we don't need to worry about Hammer of Dazon's auto-equip function. We can still cheat around that because we have Pure Steel Paladin out. So part of me feels like we should just do... so we'll use one of the generic... Oh, we'll need to use double white. Double white for Pure Steel Paladin. We'll use 1 generic for this. Oh, no, we can't do it anymore then. Oh, we're fucked. Do we make him indestructible? Probably. Never mind. We'll do this. We'll draw a card. Oh, got another land. This is why you need the mana. This is why you need the tithe. This is why you need the land tax. This is why you need the thinning. We draw a card because of Pure Steel Paladin, obviously. This is cool. If we're worried about Pure Steel Paladin, we can equip this to Pure Steel Paladin instead. We'll do some damage, ping a thing, draw a card. This is a decent setup. Again, would I have rather done Robe of Stars there? Yeah, probably, but that's okay. He's indestructible. We'll see if he stays or not. Next turn. All of the equip. This is exactly what we want to see. So Isamaru is not only, and yes, I see the War Room, but we have enough draw going on that I would rather have the colored mana at this point. So we've got a lot going on. We've got a way to draw. This is going to help do more damage. So I do say that this is something we should put on the field right now, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We'll use the Mox Amber. This is going to go on the field. Logically, you should spread the love. But let's just say that we've got a target that is ripe for removal, because how much damage are we doing right now? We do +2, 4, 1, 2, 3. That is 7. That is 7, 9 damage on Isamaru. That's not so bad. So we'll just go ahead and do the Golem Skin Gauntlets right on Isamaru. When it enters the battlefield, we'll draw a card. Mother's great. Little late for you, Mom, but we'll probably want to put her down anyways. And before we go to combat, I don't see why not. This is just another safeguard, and we're just doing it. We're putting it right on Isamaru as well. So that is 2, 4, 8 damage added, +2, 4, 3 or 2? 3? That's okay. So we've got 7 defense. That's really not bad. Isamaru is pretty good around turn 4 with this hand. But we'll also draw a card from dropping the Robe of Stars. Obviously, we'll leave the mana open to just see if we need to phase this out. And I think from here on out, unless there's a valid enough reason for us to use Portable Hull, I'll probably just want to keep mana open for Robe of Stars. This is our meal ticket now. Having everything on Isamaru with Robe of Stars, and if you forget, Robe of Stars reads, we can phase out Isamaru with everything on Isamaru. So we want to make sure that this stays intact. So I will definitely leave the mana open. It does mean that they need to have 2 solutions that aren't red or blue, right? But we are going to draw a card again for Pure Steel Paladin here. We'll attack. We'll ping a thing. We'll draw another card. And I know we can play Commander's Plate, but I feel like just keeping the boy alive is the most important thing. If the protection is valid, though, let us pretend that dropping Commander's Plate and auto-equipping it on the Isamaru is better in this instance because it offers protection for any removal that could happen. It auto-equips because of Hammer of Nazan. Obviously, we need to use 1 mana for that. We will draw a card for doing that. And in this instance, I think the best thing to do would maybe be to take someone off a color by removing their mana rock or using this to exile any sort of value or stacks piece that's hindering us in most instances, but there's really not much that's hurting us. So potentially going for the Mother of Runes just to get some more protection in there. Like, this is so much protection. This is absolutely unnecessary. And we're not going to cheese it and say we have anything in our hand. We're just going to play out our hand. I do think there's probably instances where keeping mana open for the astral projection was better there, but in this world, let's just say that this made the most sense. But yeah, we're really getting there. We're playing into a lot of lands, but because we have decent draw by way of Sword of Fire and Ice and Pure Steel Paladin, we're in a really good spot. And a lot of this, the catalyst again, was City of Traders. So I love this land. Anyone who doesn't like City of Traders, I hope this persuaded you. But we're gonna go with this lovely hand. We might as well just get that attack in now. And if you're curious, I will close this out here, but I do want to talk with you guys before we actually close this out. We're doing 3. I'm just looking at the damage right now. 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 14 damage. And I'm not too worried about the defense because we're protected from pretty much anything other than white. But we still have the ability to phase out, and we have Mother of Runes on the field right now. So that's pretty darn good. But this is great. This is a great setup. Wow, more lands. Is another land? Okay, good. But yeah, that's Isamaru, Hound of Konda. What do you think? Let me tune in with you guys to see where you're at. Hey man, can you do Luca laugh for the chat? You Luca laugh or Luca or Davil? Davil's the sinister one, the evil one. Matthew Deese. Passage costs a lot to activate, effectively 5 mana. It does cost a little bit to. Also, can we get a video on your thoughts on MTG Showcase? If you want, you can ask me some questions right now as we're closing. But I've got nothing really to say. I haven't seen any of the product yet. If we're concerned about Fortnite, just know that it's just an optional product. We talked about it at the beginning of this video, but it's just alternative art for reprints. Hopefully those reprints aren't super valuable, like an Imperial Seal that you would want to buy. But otherwise, it's just active reprints. I'm excited for the new sets, and I'll probably remark on them during a live stream once they're unveiled. If you've never tuned in for a live stream set reviews, those are my favorite thing to shoot. Definitely tune in for Innistrad sets, but I'm excited to talk about those. And any future product, same story. Maybe Mask of Memory to draw a bit more. We have Mask of Memory in the list. We have Rogue. The only thing we don't have is Rogue's gloves. But we have Mask of Memory, the Skeleton Key. We have Zephyr Boots. We even have Infiltrator's Lens, which I'm not high on, but I think that Infiltrator Lens you could switch out for the Rogue's Gloves, should you like, because that's a guaranteed draw, as opposed to having to have your opponent block you. Which, they're probably encouraged to when the dog gets this big, but Isamaru Samurai spelled differently. Oh my god! Trixie ending it with that. Thank you. I didn't even notice that. Is that true? I believe you, though. But guys, that's it for Isamaru Hound of Konda. Shane, Ireland, if you're still here, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Surprisingly, the first game was fine. Like, we could see where it was going. Our draws weren't great. This game was fantastic, though. That is an example of what you want to see, and some of the benefits of having a 1 CMC Commander Legendary that's playable on turn 1 every single game. Something like a Mox Amber, you have access to that. Whereas something like a Ragavan, in my opinion, might be even more successful than this because, 1, you're just eliminating top deck tutors. 2, it's got rituals to help you play into bigger spells, right? Rite of Flame, Pyretic Ritual, Seeding Song, Jessica's Will, all that good shit. And the Monkey is only 1 CMC as well. That is a legendary I really want to play as well and try. So Shane, if you're watching this, I know you said Mono Red at first and we're glad we did Isamaru, but my head this whole time was thinking, man, this would be such a cool way to attempt Ragavan as well. Although I think there might even be a little bit more to work with there. Red's got a lot going for it that White doesn't, although White does have the stacks pieces that we got to leverage this game, like the Rest in Peace and such. But I'd really also like the Robe of Stars as well. But this is good. This is not bad. I'm happy to have done this. But guys, as I do with all these videos, I like to thank our Patreon community with our closing thoughts here. Thank you guys so much for helping support the channel, helping it grow. Your support on Patreon goes miles to help the production cost here. It is really... it's kind of laborious sometimes, but really your help goes a long way. This is gonna be a crazy week of editing for me. Both our Brew Wars and our Happy Hour segment were 2 hours long each, so I'm gonna be strapped to my laptop over the next few days just editing out that work. But I hope you enjoy this upcoming Brew Wars, and of course I hope you enjoy the future YouTube shorts, these live streams, and then some moving forward. But this has been a fun year, and this was a fun deck. I hope you guys got at least a little something out of this Isamaru build. I know it's odd working on things that we wouldn't naturally considered cEDH worthy, but even still, we get to learn a little bit as we go through the brewing process about what is good in White, what is not good in White, and what we can improve upon. So this was a definite fun one for me. Isamaru is one I've always wanted to try. But I hope you enjoyed it as well. Again, my name is Patrick Marlett, and happy brewing, baby.